Look at that. Hi, everybody. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start our work session today for about no longer than 30 minutes. We're going to see what we cover, and then we're going to go into our regular meeting. Ms. Fuller is not here today, so I'm going to be filling in for her as the to kind of coordinate the board today. So we're going to start the session today. So what's the first thing on the agenda, Ken? Do you do?
Let's go right over here. So
Just if you have anything further,
President's report? Okay.
which you just did.
What you just did. You have anything else?
Well, I do have something else to say. So I guess I don't do this in the regular meeting, right? I'll do this in the workshop meeting.
Going to do it twice, really.
Okay, then I'll pass for now.
Okay. I will also defer to the regular meeting.
Okay, great.
We're rolling.
Discussion of presentation minutes.
Would you like me to do it?
I have Irene doing that. Irene, is there
Okay,
anything
sounds
that
like
we
we
need to
find it.
discuss, or
It is. Okay,
did anybody have any?
right. In accordance with Board of Education bylaws 168, recording of board meetings of the following meetings or the work meeting, executive session meetings, August 10th, 2021. Are there any questions or concerns from those minutes? All right, Mr. Weinstein, there are no questions or concerns about our minutes.
Great, thank you. Financial matters, Miss Terrell?
Yep.
There are 5 items for discussion this evening. Item 7.1. Okay, item 7.1, Board of Ed Administration will discuss the agreement with Monmouth County Vocational School District to accept Township of Ocean students into the following programs for the 21-22 school year as listed below. 7.2, Board of Ed Administration will discuss the service agreement with Effective School Solutions to provide mental health awareness and prevention with group-based professional development, teacher coaching, staff self-care, and parent workshops for the 21-22 school year at the cost of $44,863 in accordance with the attached contract. 7.3, Board of Ed and Administration will discuss the use of facilities as per the attached memo dated August 24th, 2021. 7.4, Board of Ed and Administration will discuss the donation of 100 pieces of 8-ounce University Medical hand sanitizers from Harmon Face Values of Ocean, New Jersey. And 7.5, Board of Ed and Administration will discuss the donation of 550 supply boxes from Staples for the Wayside Elementary School. Mr. General?
Okay, 7.1. And this is our annual tuition. The tuition has increased slightly at the vocational schools. But this is our annual agreement with them for students. So if there's any questions there.
I have a few questions.
Okay.
The shared time students last year, we're spending significant more this year than last year's. And the biggest bump seems to be the shared time students going from 32 to 48. So like, what's that about? Just if somebody could explain that a little bit more. And like we were going down every year, which is great with our, Spartan schools. But this year we like shot back up again. So the last 3 years, it was like 617,000, then 480,000, and now we're back up to 603. So I'm just wondering if we could get a little bit of backstory on that, please.
I'm sorry, we're at 579, right? You're talking about the total cost?
I have I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. 579, you're right.
Yeah, 603 was in 1920, so we are
Correct.
down.
No, but to 2021, it was 484.
Right, but we're down from 1920, which was 603. So we went down to 484,
Yes.
now back up to
Back up.
579, but we're still lower than we
Almost
were
100,000.
in 1920.
Yeah.
Was it lower last year because of remote?
I don't know if Jen may be able to answer that better for some of the,
Well, it depends
Or-
on, I
or
have
Dawn.
to, I don't have the, do we have the comparative, look at the comparison. I mean, the Career Academy programs are all usually pretty consistent. Every year, it's a little bit different how many kids are going to the Shared Time program, the Career Center.
In total students, we went from 135 in 1920 down to 100 in 2021, and now up to 115 in 21-22. So we went down and now up a little bit, but we're still lower in total than we were in 1920, total number of students.
But that whole increase is the shared time students practically. So what's the deal with that? What does that mean? What is shared
The
time?
shared time
Shared
students
time-
went from 32 to 34,
Well-
so I'm not sure what you're,
I'm trying.
the rate went up,
48.
the rate went up from 900 to 950.
What's a shared time student?
Shared
Yeah, I
time
think it's-
students are typically those students that I guess you would say are the more traditional vocational programs. They only go to the vocational schools for part day. They come to our school for their academic programs, math, language arts, so and so, so forth. And then they go to the shared time program for culinary arts, carpentry, whatever it may be.
Like a police and fire or something.
Police and fire is a little different because, or the law enforcement program is, it's not a shared time program. It's a full-time program, but the kids don't go till the juniors. Compared to say communication high school, high tech, those schools are 4-year full-time programs. So, typically the shared time programs are those for CTE programs that we don't offer that tend to be the more, those traditional vocational programs, electrician, plumbing, HVAC, those kinds of things.
So it's not losing.
Did I remember that correctly, Dawn?
Yeah, the rate per student has certainly gone up all 3 years. So I think that's really the driving factor in the cost, because number of students from 1920 were from 135, we're still down to 115. And even in cost, it's closer, the 603,000 in 1920 down to 579 for 21-22, but each year the cost per
Mhm.
student has gone up. So.
And that's the vocational district who sets that, obviously, through their school board, right?
They set their tuition.
Yeah.
rates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that was 7.1. Can I skip over 7.2 because Jim will have to take that one? The 7.3, well, 7.4 and 7.5 are some donations that we've received at the Wayside School for 7.5. And Harmon's called us and told us they had hand sanitizer. I said, great, we'll come get it.
What's the
So-
expiration date on that, Kenny?
Yeah, well, the first thing I asked him was, what's the alcohol content? So, and
You were
it's,
looking for a high alcohol content?
well,
were you?
there's a
Well, it has
minimum
to be,
60%.
right?
They were like 70+%, so that's fine. That meets the guidelines. So, and I think it started with 100. They may have more for us. So that's a good thing. And then the pencil, the supply boxes, that Ms. Playa received from Staples. I don't know, was that through the PTA or was that they just came to the school and because they're in, you had a
Denise
connection.
knows
So-
somebody.
All right, so there was
She's got a
a
name.
parent that was able to bring them to the Wayside School. Yeah, so that was a good thing. Are you guys sharing or?
You, she gonna share with you?
All right, they're working on getting it
They're
to
working on
other
it. They're
schools.
working on it.
They're working on trying to get some for other schools. So that's a good thing.
You all
Uh,
share.
And then use of facilities, I have one more comment. If you noticed, there was a group on there when the agenda went out that I had taken off. There's a question about the dates and there may have been a mix-up in what dates they were looking for. So that's going to go on the next week's agenda. So we're looking at the cost and the specific dates for that group. And that's all I have unless there are any questions.
So we do two?
Yeah, please.
So the contract with Effective School Solutions, this is, was part of our plan through the ESSER funds to, that address mental health. So we're recommending a contract with this group to provide, and it's outlined in, in the proposal. various trainings that will engage a certain group of people that will then train. It's a training that those people will then turn around and turnkey and train others. There's, self-care programs for staff. There's coaching for staff. And then there's also the parent programs, which we think is a great aspect of this as well. So this is discussion tonight. We're going to look to approve this next week. Also, just so Amy and Grace Ann, we have a committee meeting on Thursday. The folks from ESS will be there to be able to discuss with the committee in detail what's going to be going on. And, obviously the committee will report back to the board next week, but, unfortunately that committee meeting fell before this meeting. So we didn't want to vote on it till the committee's had an opportunity to hear everything as well. But this is part of, the mental health allotment in the, really the ESSER two, the CRISA part, or not the CRISA part, but the ESSER two fund that came out, yeah. Okay, so I think many questions that people might have, I mean, yeah. But.
We're having a tough time hearing you,
Okay.
saying it's all digitized.
Go ahead, Grace.
I'm sorry. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. So just a couple of things. One, I had sent an email out today because I found out about this today. But there's a DREAMS program where there's a collaboration with Rutgers, actually, that the part of the Champions Committee coaching to build the capacity on trauma-informed practices with a nurtured heart approach and the trauma attune model, we can get 2 staff trained at no cost if we sign up for this program, which we have to do today, unfortunately. So I did send that link to Dr. Stefankowitz, but it has to come from administration if they want to sign up for that. And the 2 staff would get almost the mirror of what this program is offering with receiving training in the nurtured heart approach. 2 staff members would become certified in the nurtured heart approach. They would receive training in the evidence-based 6 core strategies, have access to the trauma foundational training series, and meet regularly with the community mentor. So it's very similar to what this agency is offering for 8, but this is free. So I honestly would really advocate, and I know Dr. Stefankowitz said he would definitely sign up for this, but unfortunately the sign up has to be today because it's Thursday from 9:30 to 11. And they have to send the school district the link and whoever the administrator is that's going to be on the call for that time. So that was just a sidebar.
So Jim, do you want to?
Yeah, I saw that, Grace Ann, you sent the link. I'll, obviously, as soon as I can get to do that, that's fine. We are going to have,
I appreciate that.
yeah, one thing we'll have to figure out, and we'll figure it out, is obviously we have our wellness committee meeting. Many of the people who would probably be part of this, part of that call is happening at the same time, but we'll figure that out. We'll address that.
Okay. And
but-
then I just have a couple of questions because it's a lot of money that they're asking for. So I would ask, how many instructors, are they going to be sending? Is it only going to be for those 8 staff? How are we going to sustain this, the next coming years? Are they going to provide training materials? Have we gotten any other quotes from any other agencies or organizations? So those are my questions. But I appreciate that this was put together, and I thank you for that. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I think we're going to go over all that in the committee meeting on Thursday. Is that okay we can work to address some of those things right now if need be, or we were certainly going to go over it in detail on Thursday.
But the committee meeting and this meeting for the DREAMS program is the same time.
Yes,
That's the only thing.
yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. They're at the same time. We're going to have to try to figure out who would attend the other meeting, which we'll figure out. But I think that, we do have the ESS people coming on Thursday to the wellness committee meeting. So I think that, many of the questions that you have, we were planning on addressing at the committee meeting on Thursday.
Okay, so Jim, you'll figure out the logistics. on how to
We'll,
make
we'll
these
figure
happen?
that out. Yep.
Okay. And
Wait,
Grace Ann,
but-
thanks for bringing all that up.
But do we need, to know any of that in order to vote on this tonight?
We're
or
not
no?
voting
Not
on it.
voting on it.
Okay, so it's not in
No,
the
it's a-
regular
you're
one?
right.
Okay,
It's just on the workshop meeting. It's not on the regular.
okay.
Thank you,
Agenda.
Grace Ann.
Thank you.
Ms. Tortorella, do you have anything else to discuss at this time?
That's it. That's what I
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to instruction, education, and student activities. Ms. Gilman?
Thank you very much, Mr. Weinstein. There are 6 items for discussion this evening. 8.1. Board of Education and Administration will discuss a cancellation to out-of-district public tuition for the 2021 summer ESY program in accordance with the attached memorandum dated August 11, 2021. 8.2, Board of Education and Administration, in line with District Policy 8220, the school day, will discuss the times that district schools will be in session, including the starting and ending times of shortened days during the 2021-2022 school year. In line with District Policy 8210, the school year calendar for 2021-2022 school year was approved at the regular monthly meeting held February 16, 2021, and those times are listed below. 8.3, Board of Education and Administration will discuss changing the name of the following course for the 2021-2022 school year at the Township of Ocean Intermediate School. Old course name Enrichment, new course name Gifted and Talented. 8.4, Board of Education and Administration will discuss out-of-district private tuition for the 2021-2022 school year in accordance with the attached memorandum dated August 16th, 2021. 8.5, non-resident tuition students for next year. Board of Education and Administration will discuss the acceptance of non-resident students to attend the Township of Ocean School District for the 2021-2022 school year on a tuition basis as listed below. And 8.6, Board of Education and Administration will discuss the requests of college, university students to fulfill their early field placement requirements in accordance with the attached memorandum dated August 19th, 2021. Dr. Stefanowicz, you have anything to add?
Well, the only thing that I would just mention is, the school day, that's just approving of the hours, there's nothing changed or anything there. It's just procedural. Unless there's any questions, no.
I have a question about 8.4.
Mhm.
And sorry, this is the stuff that I did email over the weekend,
yep.
so hopefully it's not catching anyone off guard. So the sped private tuition is 2.7 million, right? Much
Right.
less than last year's by about a little less than 500 grand. But there's 7 kids less, it seems. So where'd those kids go? Do they all age out? And then I also didn't see the Rutgers on here.
All right, well, yes, we had kids age out, we had a child move out of district, and then
Okay.
we had some kids, we had kids who came back to district. So between those 3 things, that makes up the
Okay.
majority were kids who aged out.
Okay,
And
Right.
just remember, it's a snapshot in time,
Right.
yeah, and it
these
can change in
things
October or
change
whenever we
This will
do that,
more
yeah.
likely go
very,
off in-
Yeah.
very
that way
quickly.
through the course of the year.
And the
Jen?
Rutgers was
Yeah.
was already approved
Okay.
previously. That's why it wasn't on, right, Jen? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was, I think you had said that.
Yeah, so
Alex.
would that have been on the last year's one?
I don't think, I think these are private schools. Is it, do we separate them between the public and the private? That's all. It was just done earlier. Okay. They usually are broken up or they're approved together? Okay, so they usually are broken up. So that's why I didn't see it on did you see it on last year's?
Directors?
The
No,
Rutgers?
no, there was not a
No, there wasn't.
Rutgers.
So I think it's typically approved separately than this list.
And you're saying that why? Because they're public versus private? Why were we asking?
Just 2 separate contracts was what we're saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. what you
Yeah, I
said.
don't think there's any real definition
what
of
did you say,
of this
Ms. Donna?
list.
Yeah.
Typically, there's 2 contracts because not every child goes to ESY or school for ESY, so it's a separate contract for the ESY program versus the school.
Oh, okay, thank you. Any other questions?
We're still on 8 point.
We're still on section 8. Great. Thanks, Ms. Gilman.
You're welcome.
Ms. Parlamas, could you go over personnel?
Yes.
We
Oh,
did
we
that
did
already.
it in the session? Yeah?
Personnel was done in executive session,
Yes,
so.
great, thank you. And policy, Mr. Weinstein, can you go over policy? Sure. So on the policy side, we have Board of Education Administration will discuss the second and final reading of revised and new policies, regulations as follows. So we had a bunch of discussions around this prior. Ms. Talarico came up with a number of other points that she wanted to discuss. I think where we ended up with, there was a couple of things that kind of came out. One is on the school safety patrol. We had a discussion around that on the school safety patrol. We would ask Mr. Stefankowitz Dr. Stefankowitz to look at the student handbook and talk to his administrators about making sure that students can apply or can be considered to be on the student patrol. Okay, I don't believe we came up, I think we basically decided that we did not want to put that in a policy and kind of restrict you as building principals from deciding how you wanted to do that. But we just want to encourage students to know that they can be part of that. The other thing we talked about is there's a citizen advisory committee, which we discussed. So one of the things that Grace Ann brought up and myself and Ms. Gilman talked about was the idea that we wanted to bring that up in discussion in a workshop setting when Ms. Fuller is here as well. This is to talk through whether we wanted to revisit that concept. We have the current committee that was put together for the pandemic situation, but we really don't have a specific district-wide level advisory citizen committee in place right now. We do have PTAs and we have other things. So I thought that we wanted to bring that up and discuss that at another time.
And the policy allows for that, the way
The
it's
policy
written,
allows for
so-
it the way it is, right? We just want to have a discussion to know if we should actually put something in place to get that going. I think the other things, nobody else had any comments since our reading other than Grace Ann. And Grace Ann, are there things that you wanted us to cover in there that you felt like, I left you a voicemail. I think we sent you an email on what we were doing with those other items. Did you feel you wanted to go over any of those in this discussion now?
No, I mean, you covered what I had asked. There was only those two other points about listing what the weapons were. I don't know if that was discussed.
Yeah, we did discuss that, and we basically talked through the idea that some things are obvious weapons, some things
Right.
are not obvious weapons.
Well, in the regulations too.
And the
Yeah.
and then the regulations kind of specify,
Well, I had to dig them up. We didn't really have them before.
yeah, so the regulations kind of they kind of correlate to the policy. And that also went to communicable diseases, I believe, went to the policy as well.
I sent them out after the committee met.
Yeah,
And we learned what a dirk is
Okay.
too.
yeah.
Right. It has a long list of weapons in the regulations. It more
Oh, okay.
specifically,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
because the safety patrol, I didn't see a policy or a regulation on our district website. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see one for that particular policy. Because I did look it up just to see how the safety patrol candidates are being, chosen. So I didn't see that on there. So what you're saying is, if we approve these tonight, there'll be the policy as well as an update of the regulation, or the regulations will be coming to us to vote on in a future meeting for safety patrol.
Well, I think what we were discussing, yeah, I think what we were talking about is that we would have the policy accessible, but more that we would take the handbook and also talk to the principals and making sure that the principals were doing, which we already believe they are, advocating for people to apply. But we'd also put that in the handbook so the students knew that they could apply as well as their parents. The ultimate decision on
Perfect.
the safety patrol was, we want that to be left to the principals and their at their discretion. Jim came up with a number of use cases of different scenarios why different people might be selected. And so we wanted to respect their authority to make that decision.
Yeah, I did not see a regulation on the safety patrol, but
there
you are
any-
correct, Grace Ann, for the communicable disease and for the weapons, those regulations are really up in the next group of policies in our review. So they weren't in this first group, they're coming in the second group, but there was no regulation for safety patrol.
Okay,
So we're voting on a policy today, but the regulation on safety patrol will be another time, even though the
I
policy
don't
is
think there
today.
is a
There is
regulation.
no
There is-
regulation on safety
Yeah, I
patrol.
mean,
There's
the
not
bottom-
there's not a regulation for every policy,
Gotcha.
but there's a policy for every
Right, and-
regulation.
and-
I just have a last
yeah.
question. So if there is a student that would,
Go ahead.
We can hear you.
Go ahead, Grace Ann.
I just have one more question about the safety patrol.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Is that okay? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So if I look at, hello,
We're here.
it's not working.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. If a student wants to, be considered as an applicant for the safety patrol, and there's still skills that need to be worked on, is there anything like a group or anything that can kind of take them under their wing, a person, teacher's wing or guidance counselor, whoever's going to be making the decision about the safety patrol for that student, and to kind of teach them these skills to help them to maybe get to the point of being selected?
All of our elementary principals are nodding their heads, so I'm gonna defer to them to kind of explain, I
Okay.
guess, the process that they go through in
Thank you.
doing this. Denise, would you like to,
Well, For anyone to hear her, she would have to go to a
can you,
microphone.
do you mind coming up, Denise? I'm sorry. You don't have to run, it's all right.
Can you tell us your name
Tell
and
us your
address?
name and address.
Really what happens is, my school, everybody, we each do it a little bit differently. My school, each class is assigned as a safety patrol for a part of the year. So everyone has an opportunity to become a safety patrol, and our safety patrol, who is the head, Mrs. Steckon, takes on the students and guides them through their duties and what they're expected to do. And everyone gets a chance to do it. If some rules are broken along the way, there's a suspension of their duties, and then we let them try again. So everyone gets a chance in our fourth grade only to be able to be a safety patrol. So everyone, it's very inclusive. Okay, that's how I do it. I don't know how.
Thank you. Thanks very
Yeah.
much.
Thanks,
So-
Thank you.
I think we're okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, I think.
Okay. Any more comments about the policies? No, great. Okay. We're gonna have public comment now. Ken, is that right?
Yeah, we can open it up to the public.
Okay. Would anybody from the public like to make a comment on any item at this time?
Reminding, well, no, you still have to do it, but
Yeah.
just reminding that we have
We
regular
we
session
we have regular
coming.
session comment as well, which you might be able to get a little bit more context after Dr. Stefankowitz gives his discussion around his superintendent's report. So does anybody have any comments?
There's no one here in person. Mary Ann, do you have anyone in the queue that's looking to make a comment?
No, at this time, there's nobody in the queue. I don't know if you want to wait just a moment, but there's nobody in the queue now.
No?
Okay, yeah, there are two more opportunities.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, great. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the work session.
Motion.
Second.
Great.